Chapter 4. The City of Wizards. The road to Sutterton was long, muddy, and punctuated by Levi's complaints about the lack of fine wine. The group moved with the brisk pace of fugitives with purpose, because that's exactly what they were. Having just fled the village tavern, leaving behind a few dead guards and one thoroughly humiliated fake noble, they now sought someone who might actually have answers. Lord Ivel. Within familiar surroundings, Bob recommended an inn for the group to lay low, suggesting the group settles in for the night and seek out Ivel in the morning. While the adventurers settled into Sutterton, Bob quietly pursued his own clandestine agenda. Under the cover of night, he navigated shadowed alleyways and hushed taverns to reconnect with his discreet contacts within the city's underbelly. His main liaison in these shady dealings was Morrow Hammer, a unibrowed, mysterious figure known for his network of informants and a taste for powerful, arcane objects. Their meeting, held secretly in a concealed chamber beneath an old warehouse, was brief but significant. Morrow Hammer's keen interest in the orb the party had acquired was evident. Eyes glittering with curiosity and calculation, he offered Bob magical artifacts in exchange for ongoing reports about the group's activities and movements. Accepting the arrangement, Bob was presented with a peculiar ring that shimmered with a faint aquamarine glow. Slipping it onto his finger, Bob instantly felt its magic course through him. A sudden sensation of weightlessness, followed by the revelation of newfound abilities. Morrow Hammer's voice resonated clearly in his mind, detailing the ring's potent enchantments. Not only could Bob now breathe effortlessly underwater, but the ring also provided a secure, telepathic link, allowing for clandestine communication between the two conspirators. Use it wisely, Morrow Hammer advised with a thin, knowing smile. And remember where your loyalties lie. With these newfound powers and allegiances, Bob quietly rejoined his companions, his secret dealings carefully concealed behind an easygoing facade. Regrouping with the party in the morning, it was time to seek out Bob's employer, the elusive aristocrat who had sent him off with a satchel, a map, and vague instructions many days ago. Lord Ivel now sat at the center of their tangled mystery. It was time to revisit those roots. If this ends with him giving me another errand and a fruit basket, I'm burning down his manor, Bob muttered. Wouldn't that cut off your paycheck? Ost asked. Bob shrugged. Depends on what's in the fruit basket. As they traveled northward, the terrain grew more cultivated. The forests gave way to farmland, and the villages became tidier, more guarded, more suspicious. Word of their encounter with the city guard may have traveled faster than they had hoped. They spent most nights in the woods to avoid attention. Alaric, ever the optimist, turned each campfire into an impromptu concert. Zal, more reflective since Roan's death, took quiet moments to stare up at the moon. Saloon's influence was growing within him. On the fifth evening, as Sutterton's towers rose on the horizon, the party paused atop a hill. The road ahead split into two paths. One led straight to the gate, guarded and well lit. The other wound through a lesser-used trading route, longer but discreet. Ost surveyed the city through a spyglass. Gate guards look alert, maybe too alert. Levi stroked his chin. We did kill some guards a few towns ago. And you lit one on fire, Bob added. He was flammable, Levi protested. Zal glanced toward the longer route. We take the trade road. I'd rather sneak into the lion's den than knock on the front door. Bob adjusted his cloak and grinned. For once, we agree. With the spires of Sutterton watching from a distance, The group descended the hill, bound for the city and the enigmatic Lord Ivel. The orb pulsed faintly in Levi's pack. Upon reaching Sutterton and Lord Ivel's manor, the group was greeted at the door by a robed halfling named Zanzil. Bob instantly recognized that much had changed since his departure. Lord Evil had never kept many servants, mostly part-time at best, but those few were conspicuously absent. The manor itself felt wrong, rearranged, almost hollow, as if valuable items had been quietly removed. Zanzil guided them to a stately, yet strangely barren greeting room. "Please wait here," the halfling said smoothly. "I shall fetch Lord Ivel. He will be most pleased to see you." As the robed servant disappeared down the hallway, Ost inclined his head slightly, keenly listening. Soft footsteps and hushed voices echoed faintly from a room or two away. Zanzil's voice carried through, describing the group in unsettling detail, highlighting their capabilities and strength. It felt less like a simple introduction and more like a threat assessment. Levi, meanwhile, paced the room anxiously, an odd familiarity creeping over him. His gaze fell upon an ornate bookshelf, and instinctively, almost without realizing it, he reached out to a decorative bust of an eagle. With a soft click, the bookshelf shifted, revealing a concealed entrance. "Did anyone see that coming?" Alaric asked, genuinely astonished. "Nope," Bob muttered, "but I'm betting Levi did." Levi stepped inside cautiously, heart pounding as fragments of forgotten memories stirred. Within was a hidden room, illuminated dimly by enchanted crystals. At its center was a rune-covered summoning circle, and around it were shelves stocked with alchemical equipment and vials of a familiar orange liquid, identical to the one destroyed back in the Orb Temple. "Wait," Levi whispered, his voice catching. Before anyone could respond, the clanking of armored footsteps interrupted their discovery. From multiple doorways, sleek, armored warforged soldiers appeared, blocking escape routes and approaching aggressively. Chaos erupted as the constructs attacked. Zal immediately moved into a defensive position, steel ringing against steel. Ost ducked behind cover, loosing arrows methodically, targeting joints and exposed mechanisms. Bob fought viciously, targeting weaknesses he could exploit, while Alaric chanted frantically, his magical melodies bolstering the group. In the hidden room, Zanzil confronted Levi and Zal, appearing from the shadows, hands crackling with magic. "You shouldn't have meddled," the halfling hissed. Energy sparked violently from his fingertips, scorching the air. Levi, driven by instinct and a growing fury, lunged forward, spells erupting from him in a display of magic fueled by desperation. Zal, eyes blazing with newfound devotion to Saloon, fought with relentless strength. Zanzil fell swiftly, mortally wounded. With his last breath, the halfling rasped defiantly, "Zaknafine will avenge me." Levi, driven by a compulsion he couldn't explain, grabbed one of the orange vials and drank deeply. The world surged around him as memories crashed back into his mind. His body trembled, and his features visibly rejuvenated, lines fading, vigor returning. Clarity washed over him like a tidal wave. "I remember," Levi murmured. "I know who I am. I am Lord Ivel." Without hesitation, Levi turned to the summoning circle and began making minor adjustments to various sigils and runes on the ground, pouring ash to form new glyphs that blaze red once the proper form took shape. "You are Lord Ivel?" Zal repeated. "Yes," Levi stated. "I thought it rather obvious, Levi. You know, Ivel spelled backwards. I thought Bob would have figured it out for sure." Bob, not paying attention, jolted towards the conversation upon hearing his name. What's this now? Hey, where'd Levi go? So, Ost started, not quite sure how to formulate his question. What was that orange liquid? A potion, Levi replied, not looking up as he continues to toil away on the circle of glyphs. Yes, but what did it do? Ost continued. Restored my youth and memory, Levi replied flatly. Ah, but why were you old and your memory taken to begin with? Ost posed. Because I drank the blue potion. That removed my memory. The age thing was an unwanted side effect. Potions aren't my expertise, Levi stated as he rubbed away half of a sigil with his hand. And why would you want your memory removed? Ost proceeded. Levi stood up to face the group who have gathered around, as their collectively curiosity was palpable. With an annoyed tone, Levi recanted flatly, selfish intent must stay away, for here no greed can seize the day. Only the just may take the prize. The orb awaits the pure and wise. Levi looked upon the bewildered group. Wait, you truly didn't know what was down there, did you? Huh, interesting, he bemused as he turned back to face the circle. Now that your memory's restored, what's the orb for? Ost asked, growing agitated. Levi stopped and turned to look at Ost. I don't know, at least not for sure. There are rumors. Something about controlling dragons. Supposedly there's more of them. I only know of vague locations for some. I've been attempting to get more specific information from my contact. Levi then turned his attention back to adjust a final rune. Zal processed the poem for a moment. Wait, what exactly are your intentions? Looking from Zal to Levi, Ost added in, and who is this contact? No sooner did Ost complete his question than the runic circle blazed to life. Levi had begun chanting words in abyssal he recalled perfectly. From the flames emerged a towering infernal resident, a great horned devil who snarled angrily until recognizing his summoner. You again, the devil growled, half intrigued, half fearful. Levi, eyes hard with cold authority, demanded information. Glazaruth, tell me everything about Zaknafine and his shadow cabal, now. Under the force of Levi's relentless interrogation, Glazaruth's defiance slowly gave way to cruel amusement. The devil's coiled form shifted within the shimmering arcane cage, his eyes glowing like molten coals as he leaned toward the edge of the summoning circle. Very well, mortal, he purred. You've earned a taste of the truth. His voice resonated with unnatural gravity, thick with the weight of secrets. Zaknafine seeks dominion, not over cities, not over nations, but over fate itself. The orbs are his path to that end. Artifacts forged in the shadow of the first brood, when dragons ruled the stars. Their essence, ancient, raw, and pure, is bound into 5 orbs, each tied to one of the great draconic forces that once shaped the world. Levi narrowed his eyes. Where are they? Glazaruth's smile widened, fangs glinting. One you already possess, the others are scattered. The next lies to the east, buried deep beneath the lands of Tyndall, hidden beneath jungle and ruin. Another slumbers in the blasted wastelands to the west, where ash storms devour the horizon. The rest, he chuckled darkly, are less accessible. But know this, Zaknafine will not stop. He believes that by gathering all 5, he can unmake the world and remake it in his image. Levi's fingers trembled slightly. The runes binding the devil flickered, ever so faintly. His concentration was slipping. And what were the orbs originally for? Levi pressed. Who made them? Glazaruth's eyes flared, and his voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. That, mage, is a deeper secret. One dash. The runes pulsed violently. Cracks laced through the floor. Levi's knees buckled. You no longer have the strength to claim. With a grimace and a bitter curse, Levi raised his hand and uttered the dismissal. The cage imploded inward with a thunderous crack, sucking Glazaruth back to the nine hells in a blink of smoke and fire. Silence fell. Levi staggered backward, drained, breathless, but victorious. Barely. And behind his exhaustion, his mind burned with what he'd heard. 5 orbs, ancient dragons, Tyndall, the wastelands, and Zaknafine's plan to rewrite the world itself. The manor shook with approaching footsteps, Zaknafine's reinforcements, no doubt. Orst threw Levi's cloak around him. Time to go, Lord Ivel. The group wasted no further time, slipping away from the compromised manor and quickly fleeing northward, toward the safety of the next major city, Deep Burrow. Behind them, Sutterton smoldered with unanswered questions and growing dangers.